And we're live. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Vincent, and today is a special day because I'm not alone. This is the core conversation on AskDrVincent.com. And today I'm very, very lucky and privileged because I have a special woman who joined me live on Substack today. She is really, really, really accomplished, and she's more importantly, she is championing a cause that is very close to my heart. And instead of my usual red, today, in honor of this amazing and purposeful cause, I'm wearing pink. And I'm going to introduce you to Sue. Hi, Sue. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Vincent. I'm very well. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for allowing me to have you because, as you know, I am very passionate about the Nappy Collective charity, which is the charity with you at the helm. You are the CEO of this amazing organization. And I've been talking about this charity for probably a little bit over 2 years now. But I want everybody to hear about the amazing work that the Nappy Collective, as well as yourself, um, have been doing, are doing, because the thing about this crisis, and I put the title on our podcast today, is the hidden crisis in a lucky country. When I first heard about it, I thought that this is impossible, that things like this can happen in Australia. But I'm not gonna steal your spotlight. I want you to tell a little bit about your amazing organization, Sue.
Thank you. And it is an amazing organization, which I've been a part of for a very short time. But it was started by Sandra Jacobs, she had a baby and she was at home and she decided to volunteer at a women's domestic violence shelter. And when she went there, she realized that these women had left with just the clothes on their back. They had nothing with them. And she thought, I've got some nappies at home that I don't need anymore. My baby has outgrown them. So she went home and she got those nappies. And then she put a call out to all her friends and said, hey guys, do you have any nappies? This is what I'm doing. And there are women that don't have access to nappies. And that was in 2013. That's where it all started. And from there, we have grown and grown. So we're now a national organization. We repurpose donated nappies, and we also have companies donate them to us. And we work with about 300 or so volunteers throughout Australia who do so much work to actually help get these nappies where they need to go. We work with over 800 charity partners, and we've got 840 collection points. And so people can drop their nappies off, our volunteers pick them up, and then take them to one of our charity partners, some of which are women's shelters, food pantries, all sorts of charities which are helping families in crisis. And as you said, it is a hidden crisis, and people don't seem to realize that it is a real problem in our society. And I explain it to people like this: if you see people queuing up for a box of food at Food Bank, and you can see them, they are queuing for miles, then how can they afford nappies that are $20 or $30 a packet? And you'd need to buy that every week. It's very clear to me that it is a real problem. And if you're living below the poverty line, which 1 in 6 children are living beneath the poverty line, it's a very real problem.
It's really sad because Bob Hawke said that by 1990, there shouldn't be any child in Australia that lives below the poverty line. But here we are now, and I don't mean that this is something that people don't think about, because I do believe that us Aussies, we are very, very quick to help. The issue with this particular crisis is that people don't talk about it because there's so much shame, there's so much stigma and judgment. N- Actually, not by other people, but mostly from the parents themselves. Because I have to share with people, this story very well too, because the first contact point that I had with this amazing organization, the Nappy Collective, was when I myself became a parent, and I saw a collection box at the hospital, and I was like, this cannot be true. But it is fact, for it is an everyday reality for thousands and thousands of parents and children in Australia, that they can't have access to basic needs, including nappies. And you mentioned it's $20, $30, and newborn babies, I can speak from experience, and I'm sure if parents are listening, they would confirm this statement, that newborn babies will use so many nappies every single day. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity, and it shouldn't be something that, on top of everything that parents are worried about, it shouldn't be a point of worry for parents. But unfortunately, it's someone's reality every day, and we want to change that. And that's the reason why we're having conversation with Sue Karzis, which is the CEO, who is the CEO of the Nappy Collective charity. And I just learned that it evolved from s- an act of goodness, someone who wants to help, someone who wants to lighten the load of other people, and it has evolved to a national movement. And which begs me to ask you this question, Sue. What has been the most rewarding part of leading the Nappy Collective charity in your tenure so far?
I think it's what you said. It's a charity that is just based in kindness. It's about being kind to one another and understanding what it must be like. It's about empathy. So having, experience being a mother, you feel guilty about everything, as you know. You feel guilty. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing a great job as a parent? So to have on top of that, feeling guilty that you can't keep your baby dry and healthy, it's really hard. So I think being able to make that difference, and we had a mother cry when she received nappies, and no mother should have to cry because she's received something as simple as nappies. But that is the case, and they're rationing them. We had another mother who was saying she had 4 nappies left because her baby had been sick and she was rationing them. So she would open them up in the morning, clean them out, and then put them back on the baby. It breaks my heart. And so this charity is the only charity in Australia which is actually doing something about this and helping people in need with nappies. And that's all we do. We just do nappies, and that's a huge need. We've just hit 1.5 million donated nappies this year. So, but the need is greater than that still.
We need more. And this is something that, when I first found out and learned about the Nappy Collective cause and initiative and your organization, and I talked to my friends and family, to my circle, about this, sometimes I feel that charities like yours, like the Nappy Collective, it's very hard to communicate the gravity of the situation, because for most of us, for a lot of us, we're at a privileged situation where we don't even have to think about the cost of nappy. It is something that, in my mind, in our mind, in our human mind, is something that's so trivial. But if you feel that too, don't feel guilty, because I felt that too. Turn that feeling into a perspective that, if they can't afford nappies, there are so many other things that they can't afford. Because this is something, the expression, when you have to go, you have to go. Imagine, as a parent, you have to ration nappies for your babies. How do you do that? People make do, but they shouldn't. So this is the reason why I'm very, very passionate about this, because as a health expert, not only, never mind the psychological effect, never mind the stigma and social issue, wo- it is not healthy to put babies in wet or dirty nappies, because the leading cause of the use of antibiotics for babies is UTI, urinary tract infection. And it happens even if you change the nappies, even if you take the best care of your babies. But the risk of babies developing and contracting UTI is many, many times higher when the parents can't afford or have access to clean nappies.
And that's what we've heard from maternal health nurses as well. They're giving out antibiotics left, right, and centre because the babies are getting nappy rash, all sorts of other infections. And that breaks my heart too. We have doctors saying to us as adults, I don't want to give you antibiotics because they're so bad for you, for your gut, for your, immune system. And yet we are having to give them to babies because they don't have access to nappies.
Because of something that is so avoidable. And I talked to someone the other day, and they were like, okay, well, when you put someone, especially kids and babies, through a course of antibiotics, you need to give them probiotics. And I said that, look, if they can afford probiotics, they wouldn't have any issue in the first place affording nappies. So this is something that a lot of us have difficulties wrapping our head around it, because if you say something like this happens in a third world country or developing country, it's probably something that a lot of people can relate. But when it happens in countries like Australia, I hope that this round of media and platform that you have allowed this cause to be elevated to the national level will help people to become more aware, and not only that, take action to change this reality.
That's right. And it's just a small action. It's donating nappies at one of our collection points. It's donating virtually the cost of a packet of nappies. We're not asking for huge things. We're just asking for small acts of kindness so we can continue to do the work that we do because we really do rely on our volunteers. We're a very small organisation of 3, and we rely on volunteers to do a lot of that work for us. So a bit of help that will enable us to actually provide nappies that we can't access through donations. So at the moment, sizes 4, 5, and 6 nappies we just can't source. They're not being donated, so we need funds in order to be able to buy those and provide them to the charity partners who need them and the mums and families who are waiting on these nappies and haven't had them for weeks and weeks and weeks.
So you don't have to listen till the end of the interview to know how to donate. It's thenappycollective.com. But please do listen till the end because I want to ask you um, about this campaign that I personally got involved with before even knowing anyone from the organization. That's I think the campaign is called "Dads Change Nappies Too," and I really want people to think about it because this is not just mother's issue. This is not just women's issue. This is family issue. And I always say that when families are strong, Australia is strong. So it all starts from family. Uh, do you have any experience with people, men in particular, coming up to you or volunteering? Because this is something that, especially those who have become dads, have a very personal experience with.
Absolutely. We have got quite a number of male volunteers, dads, who help transport the nappies in different parts of the countries, who also help with fundraising because they do understand. And the reality is that families are choosing between food and nappies or paying bills and nappies. That is the harsh reality of many, many families in Australia today. And we know that's true. And as I said, people can't afford food, let alone nappies. So it is a crisis, and dads are part of that crisis just as much as mums are. Families are part of that crisis, and families can look very different. Every family is different, but all families that are struggling understand that what the need is and why we are here and why we need help, because it's something that is a crisis and it's getting worse, and the need is just growing day by day.
So, how do people? I know everybody's busy. Everybody has their own personal struggles, issues. Money's tight, but we're not asking for like. I mean, if someone has a million of dollars, please do go to the nappycollective.com. Or I will even give him a personal number and I'll connect you with Sue. But in the meantime, what we're asking is basically just a little bit of your time, a dollar here or a dollar there. Can you put it in perspective to like, say, for example, I have $27 or $30 or whatever it is, a
Yep.
dollar a day, which is like $30 a month. How big of a difference that could make in someone's life, in a family's life?
That's a huge difference. For $24, we can provide a family with a week's full of nappies. So that is a huge difference. $100 can provide a month's worth of nappies. So every dollar can make a real difference. And as I said, we mainly do it on donation. So we're not using money to buy nappies. What we're using the money for is just to fill in the gaps because we can't meet all of the need at the moment with our donated nappies. And to be honest, in areas of the highest need, they're not being donated in those areas. So they're being donated in certain parts of the country and then not in others. And we can't afford to freight them all around the country. So we need local donations or we need monetary donations so we can fill those gaps where they're needed.
I know that people can go to your website, thenappycollective.com, to find these donation spots. And I think I have I'm in the Rosebery Mascot area. We have 3 here in baby shops, as well as some daycare and schools. But how do people find out where to donate, where to volunteer? Because I mean, when people know about this, I'm sure if you have an hour a week, or if you have excess nappies, if you know someone with excess nappies that you want to repurpose, give it to us. How do they find out about this, sir?
Yes. So if you go to our website, the Nappy Collective.com, you can see where our collection points are. And you can also, we are actually looking for volunteers. We really do need volunteers. So that's a great way to help out as well, or monetary donations. But a lot of baby bunting stores have them. A lot of MPs' offices have the collection boxes, childcare centres, as you mentioned, as well, and lots of other businesses that are trying to support us. So we do have quite a number throughout the country, as I said, over 800. So they're quite easy to find, but you can always contact us through the website or have a look on the website to see where your closest collection point is.
And my DM is also open. Any question that you want to ask, I don't have all the answers, but I can direct you to the Nappy Collective organization, because I know that knowing the concrete steps, the plans, helps people to take action and to help relieve some of these crisis and loads from someone's daily life, basically. You mentioned, Sue, that you and your organization have distributed 1.5 million nappies to families in need. Can you, without, obviously, privacy is paramount here because we want to protect those people who need the service, but can you talk more about which states, which city that these nappies are being distributed to, mainly because we want people, especially who live in the area, to, like, step up and pitch in.
Yeah. So our biggest areas for of need, I guess, in Victoria, we've got the city of Casey, also a lot of regional areas such as the city, Loddon, Bendigo area, the Goldfields, Geelong, and New South Wales is also a large area of need. But there are areas of need where we can't get enough nappies, and an example of that is the Northern Territory into remote communities. Now, anyone who knows anything about Indigenous remote communities would know that the prices of any goods are triple, quadruple. So a packet of nappies there will be 3 or 4 times what it is here. So we desperately need to get nappies into the Northern Territory to help people living on remote communities who can't possibly afford them. I don't think anybody could afford $60 for a packet of nappies, but they're not being donated so much in the Northern Territory. So there's a gap between the donations and the need there. So we need to get more nappies into the Northern Territory, which is where the donation helps, because we can buy them locally and then have one of our partners ship them for free to these remote communities. And also regional South Australia is in another area where they're not being donated but really greatly needed. So those regional areas really, really need the support, but they're not necessarily being donated in those areas.
That's Sorry, I pause, and because it's just sounds like, nappies are something that's so basic. It's like a pack of tissues, a bottle of water, but still, to have these issues, it's very, very heartbreaking. Um, I know that the Nappy Collective organization is partnering up with some corporations that helps with supplies of nappies and everything. What do you need? What do you need from, aside from volunteers, aside from small donations from everyday people who wants to help, who wants to pitch in? If you can have a pick of a litter, if you can say, for example, for one day, you can talk to someone, and hopefully that someone is listening, or someone who knows that someone is listening. What is the best way? What do you want them to do? Because I know my answer, but you go first.
We need to, in order for this organisation to be around for the next 10 years, we need sustainable funding. So we need funding to keep us going. At the moment, we just rely on donations, and that's all. We don't have any sort of government funding or anything like that. So we need funding. So if corporates want to jump in and help us, or any big corporations or anyone else that can help to fund us so that we are around in the next 10 years, because unfortunately, these nappies are going to be needed in the future. It's not a problem that's going to go away. So I'd love to be around in 10 years' time and being able to do even more. But to do so, we do need funding. We run on very, very little funding. We are part-time. I'm part-time. Our staff are part-time. There's only 3 staff. One's full-time and the rest are part-time. So we run really, really, really leanly, and we could really do with some support from corporates who'd love to get behind an organisation that does so much good.
And when people hear part time, can I just clarify something? Because we have known each other for a few weeks now, and obviously, I would love to be around with you guys as well for the next 10 years, 20 years. But what I can say that when Sue says that part time, she gets paid part time. The attention and passion is full time. So when people hear part time, it doesn't mean that uh, this organization is doing things half heartedly. The passion is full time, the pay is part time. And because this is something that's very important, people are doing this because they're passionate. People are doing this because they want to change lives. This is something that, as a scientist, the reason why I went into the field of science is because I want to change life. And changing life doesn't have to be something that is so big. Uh, Stop waiting for moments to, I don't know, save the world or something. You know what? Providing clean new nappies to family, you're changing that family's world. And you never know. You're saving families from having to worry about this one basic thing. And I do encourage people who want to do anything. I don't know. I when I first got in touch with the Nappy Collective, I didn't even know what I could do. They didn't know what I could do, but reaching out and being in contact, it provides opportunities to amplify this message, because this is something that is not as simple as, you know um, these families should just use reusable or should just use towels as nappies and everything. Yes, I know that's very simple, and on the surface, it sounds really practical and it sounds really smart. However, many of these women, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, many of these women are fleeing domestic violence. People who live in their cars, and reusable nappies are not cheap. This is something that you can't just wheel someone out of this crisis. This is not people being lazy. If they
No.
could, they would. We're talking about providing the best care for your child. No parents want to not be able to do that.
No, that's right. These are single parent families who are just living on the poverty line, who are working but just can't make ends meet. These are women fleeing domestic violence. These are people who are homeless. We are talking about people who are struggling in all areas of their life. So, yes, nappies are just another part. I mean, they also can't go out. If you don't have nappies, you can't socialize. So the mental health impacts for these families are huge. You can't take your child to daycare because you need to supply nappies for the day. The impacts of not having nappies are so huge. You know, you can't work, you can't leave the house, you can't socialize. So the
And
mental
that
health
fits into
impacts on
that
that
vicious
family,
cycle
it
of.
is. Yes, absolutely.
And one of the things that you said to me that like was my aha moment at the beginning of our conversation, Sue, was that you said that, and I immediately agree. Every parent, or almost every parent, has been in the situation where you're out doing your grocery shopping, you're out on the playground, and oops, you thought you have clean nappies, but you didn't. And if the anxiety and like the pressure at that moment, in terms of, oh my god, oh my goodness, and just the feeling when another parent offer you that clean fresh nappy. Imagine that as someone's reality, an everyday struggle. So that really really struck a chord with me. So
Yeah, and I think the sense of shame as a I'm speaking for myself as a mother that you would feel knowing that you just can't provide that for your beautiful baby, it's really, really hard to it's hard to imagine, and it's hard to imagine how those parents cope, fathers and mothers, knowing that they can't do what they need to do. It's really, really devastating.
it is, and you're absolutely right about the topic of shame and the quote unquote power of shame that prevents people from even asking for help. Because I am very fortunate that I'm not in that situation. I know you are not in that situation, and most people in our circle, you probably don't know that they're in that situation. But when when I was born, my parents just started their own small business, and every single dollar, every single cent that they have went to the business. And my parents, both of them, work full time in the business while having a newborn. And I was born in Indonesia, so reusable nappies were the norm at that time. However, the disposable nappy was like God sent for my mom, because imagine my mom, and I'm not in any way equate the suffering with the people who need clean nappies that you and I just discussed about. But there are times where my mom had to reuse wet nappies because they're just very expensive. But she felt that she didn't have any other choice because she also had to build the business to make a living for our family. So that that was already very devastating for her. However, we are talking about situation of hardship that is many, many times that people who literally have no choice. I always say that when it comes to our health, when it comes to our financial situation, when people have good choice options, most of the time they make good options. They make good choice. But when people don't have options, let alone good options, they can't choose. And it is up to the rest of us to help uplift people.
Absolutely, and that's the country we live in. We're here to help and give everyone else a helping hand. That's the Australia that I know and love. And I think at this time we're in a cost of living crisis, and that is where we all need to get together and get behind people who are really doing it tough in the most basic of ways. In not being able to afford food, not being able to afford paying their bills, not being able to afford housing, and nappies goes right along with that. So once you have one of those issues, you're facing multiple issues, and then all the mental health uh, issues or impacts that come from that as well.
Yeah. And call of action. I know that a lot of you probably have are waiting how to help. We are actually in the middle of our anti-poverty week campaign. We're not asking for a lot. Just we're hoping to raise $10,000, and this will make a whole lot of difference to people. So if you want to get involved, you can go to thenappycollective.com to pitch in. To every dollar counts. We're not discriminating. If even if you have $1, $2, if you want to organize a morning tea for gold coin donation, please reach out to thenappycollective.com. We can give you the resources in terms of how to organize that. I know that there's around 11,000 people receiving this newsletter every week. The AskJosephVincent.com. So essentially, it's $1 a person. It's not a tall order. I just checked our donation meter this morning. It is not a lot at all, but we're still at the beginning. It's not how you start, but it's how you finish. So not only Sue and I are hoping to reach the target, we want it to be our biggest campaign ever. So please, if this moves your heart, if you have that spare dollar, please do go to the nappycollective.com and help out. It's not a tall order. If we happen to surpass the $10,000 mark, that's a bonus, and we will be so grateful.
Thank you so much. Every dollar does count. Thank you, Dr. Vincent, for your support. And as I said, as you said, it's Anti-Poverty Week, and we know that 1 in 6 children are currently living in poverty, so we can make a difference to their lives.
I'm not letting you go yet, Sue, because I was promised a full 45 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
I'm very
W-
happy to talk to you for
uh,
45 minutes.
what I do want to talk about is that how do you measure success as the CEO of a nonprofit? Because we talk about everything that you are doing, everything that the organization has done in the past, what your aspiration, you want to be around for 10 years and then 20 years and 30 years. But at its very core, as a CEO of the Nappy Collective, a charity, how do you personally and professionally measure success?
For me, it's those stories. So when I read about the mother who cried at receiving nappies, that's success because it means we have saved someone from that feeling of shame, of thinking that there was no answer. For the woman who's escaping domestic violence with nothing, that sort of donation of nappies is more than just nappies. It's actually showing her that somebody cares, that there is a collective of people around that are going to support. And that transition period is the most key part. So being able to help people, they're in that transition from domestic violence and trying to find a way forward, knowing that we're making a small difference. We're not the whole solution, but we're part of the solution. That is why you do things like this. It's why you work for a charity like this. It's to make a difference in people's lives. That's what drives me personally. It's knowing that I wake up in the morning knowing that I'm doing something that's going to make a difference, and that is just huge. It aligns with my values of helping people. My parents came to Australia in 1965. They were immigrants from Greece, and they were battlers, like a bit like your parents. They came here with nothing, a suitcase, and so whilst we didn't live in poverty, and I'm not saying that we did, but things were a struggle. We didn't have holidays. We didn't have fancy things. They worked. They had a dry cleaning shop. So I really understand and resonate with people doing it tough. And I know that just the smallest things can make a big, big difference to people.
Yeah, I guess everybody. I do believe this. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how famous, how successful you are. There are parts in your life that you are struggling with, right? So I'm not, and I'm sure you will agree with me. We're not trying to change the world we're not sending people to Mars. We're not building rockets. We're not aiming for Nobel Peace Prize, unlike some people. We want to make a change. We want to change nappies. That literally is what we are aiming to do. And we want to give the opportunity for parents to be able to do that too. Um, I also want to touch on, because more about you personally, Sue, because I am very fascinated, and also I admire a lot for people who work in the not for profit organizations, because I am in a for profit organization. I know it's very clear in terms of my KPIs, in terms of what I'm trying to achieve. So in a way, there's a lot more structure to my life, to my work life, to my organization. But I would imagine the same can be said for not for profit, but it's just in a different way. How do you motivate the team? How do you speak with such passion, aside from all the lives that you have changed, but more about how do you structure a campaign? How do you push yourself every day to reach that goals in terms of, you know doing the good doing the good things to promote the cause?
So I think you'll find that the people that work in not-for-profits are driven by their values. It's not for the money. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You are in the wrong industry if you're doing it for the
if you're
money
wanting to
too.
make money, don't work for a not-for-profit. That is not where the money's at. But it's about making a difference. So our staff are just so motivated. We are a small team, but the work that we actually do between us, and just fueled by passion, and everything is harder because you don't have money to throw at things. It's much easier when you can solve issues with money. Like we need to freight these nappies, we'll just pay someone. We can't do that. So we've got to, as well as, trying to get things done, we've got to get things done for free. So everything is sort of harder. It takes more time and more effort. But we are so driven and so passionate, all of us, about this, about what we do, that we find a way. And our staff are just magnificent. I can't take the credit because I've only been here for a few months, but we've got magnificent staff who achieve so much with so little. And that's really humbling, but it's also really inspiring to me, how much you can do. And it's nothing to do with money. It's to do with just wanting to make that difference and finding ways around and doing things low cost. We've got people that support us. We've got Press Room Philanthropy that does all our printing for us and our collateral. So there's really good people in the world that will help out as well. Partners like you, Dr. Vincent, who get behind the cause. So we rely on people to help us as well. But we are, surrounded by very good people who do want to make a difference. Our volunteers, I have to call them out. They're just incredible. These are often either mums who are on maternity leave, or sometimes their grandparents, or they can be all sorts of different people who drive their own cars, pick up nappies, bring them back to their house, because we don't have a warehouse, we don't have an office. They count them, they sort them, and then they drive them to the charity partners. So they are doing so much work to make this happen. They're just incredible volunteers as well that we have, that we could not do what we do without those volunteers. So we're very lucky to have people who are as passionate as we are about making a difference.
That is so well said, because the only thing that they want to do, the only satisfaction that they achieve from doing this, is to help people. And that's so selfless. And that is something that I aspire to do as well. And I do believe that if you can solve big issues by coming together, you can definitely solve issues as trivial as providing nappies. So we're hoping to do that this anti-poverty week through this anti-poverty week campaign. But as Sue said, that this organization is being run by volunteers. If you want to volunteer, please go to the website thenappycollective.com to find out how. It's not how many. So say for example, it Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, because sometimes people only find times during the weekend to help to volunteer or to do this charity work. On average, how many hours out of a week that you require, not that you require, but people normally put in to help out with the Nappy Collective organization?
Yeah, it's quite flexible. So if we get, so we have our collection points, and then those organisations will call us and say, "Look, we've got some nappies that to be collected. The box is full," and so we'll put a call out to our regional volunteers, whichever area that is. It might be, say, if it's in Geelong, we'll say, "Who's got time to go and pick up?" So it might just be an hour or two a week that they might go and pick up the nappies and then drive them to the charity partners. So it's quite flexible in terms of how much time you can donate. You can do more, or you can just do a couple of hours or an hour a week, and all of it's really valuable.
And basically, to get into that list of people that you reach out to, what do they need to do? They need to just go to your website and then click contact
Just
us, and then
register. Yep, register that they want to volunteer, and then we'll get in touch with them. We'll induct them, tell them what they need to know, and off they go. And we do have regional, or we've got volunteer leaders, so they've got a team leader who helps them out. So everyone's got a little team as well, which makes it more fun and enjoyable. They form friendships, and they become a really great little family as well. These volunteers, which is great.
there you go. If you want to expand your friendship circle, I know that loneliness is one of the top issues in Australia. Why don't form friendship while doing some goodness in this world?
Absolutely, that's right.
Well, I think I have extracted everything that I want to ask from you, Sue. I'm sure that this is not the end of the road in terms of the fight, because the fight continues. It's an everyday struggle to help everyday Australians, and I want to have you back on, but to have Sue back on, you have to donate. No, I'm not putting it as a condition, but please, if you find it in you to help this cause, please do come on to thenappycollective.com. You can also I put the link everywhere on renovatio.com.au, on drvincent.com, on my Instagram, on my Substack, everywhere. You cannot not find it. And you click it, you go directly to the nappycollective.com website, and you can there are many options. You can do a subscription, monthly donation. You can do one-off donation. You can volunteer your time. You can donate nappies to these collection points. We make it so easy for you to do good in this world. So we've done our part. Please do your part. If it's something that moves your heart, don't fight it. Help us. Help us fight this hidden crisis in Australia, because no child should ever be in dirty nappies because their parents cannot afford clean nappies. So I want to change this. I hope that you find it in you to change it too. Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate this partnership, and I hope that we can do more good things together.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent, for partnering with the Nappy Collective. It's been fantastic, and I look forward to many more great conversations with you in the future.
Thank you. Well,
Bye.
when you say futures, it's like 10 years and 20 years. Don't forget about that.
Let's see you later.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.